Welcome back. A quick check-in on what's going on here in Nigeria. 1 million women today defy the heavy downpour in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to protest the continued seizure of schoolgirls abducted by members of the Boko Haram sect about 16 days ago. The women, who joined from all parts of the country, are agitated over the delay in securing the release of the girls. They're demanding more practical action and clear pronouncements on the release of the girls. The Senate President, David Mark, joined the House of Representatives Speaker Aminu Tambuwal, told the women under the heavy downpour not to give up as the government is taking steps to ensure the release of the abducted girls. The two men are expected to take the message from the women to tonight's meeting with President Goodluck Jonathan, holding at the presidential villa. Some parents of the abducted girls stormed the National Assembly just yesterday, asking the leadership of the Senate to do something urgent to save the lives of their young ones. About 234 schoolgirls were abducted from their school by suspected Boko Haram insurgents 2 weeks ago. About 43 of them have escaped from the captors unharmed and have reunited with their families. Now, the United Nations says more than 9,000 child soldiers have been fighting in South Sudan's brutal civil war. UN Human Rights Chief Navi Pillay says both the army and rebel forces had recruited the children. She added that South Sudan faces the threat of a famine, but there is also an apparent lack of concern on the part of its leaders. She said this at the end of a visit to South Sudan, where the conflict has displaced more than 1 million people.
After the meeting, United Nations High Commissioner of Human Rights, Navi Pillay, described her talk with opposition leader Riek Machar as good.
We landed, went through a little village and met him under a tree. He had a stack of books in front of him. One of them was about a failed state. We had a good meeting of about 35 minutes and gave him the concerns of the Secretary General about protection of civilians, and we received assurances from him that he himself is investigating the human rights violations that occurred in Bentiu, and that he is also concerned about protection of civilians here. He finds it difficult to be in the situation where he is, but I welcome the fact that he is clearly thinking in terms of a political solution.
More than 1 million people have fled their homes since the fighting erupted in South Sudan in December 2013 between troops backing President Salva Kiir and soldiers loyal to his sacked deputy Machar. The fighting appears to have done its part in exacerbating ethnic tensions between Kiir's Dinka people and Machar's Nuer tribe. Unfortunately, negotiations between the Kiir government and rebels loyal to Machar have failed to advance since the January the 23rd signing of a ceasefire, which never carried water. Based on reports by the United Nations, the rebels were simply ruthless, hunting down men, women and children last week in a hospital, church and mosque in the capital of the oil-producing Unity State, and then killing them based on ethnicity and nationality. After the rebels seized Bentiu, Dinka residents of Bor town in Jonglei attacked a UN base last week where about 5,000 people, mostly Nuer, were sheltering. In an effort to bring the crisis to an end, Adama Dieng, UN's Special Advisor on Prevention of Genocide, accompanied Pillay to the meeting and also commented on what the former vice president had to say.
He did mention that he is investigating his own people, but at the end of the day, what is critical is that the hostilities have to be ceased and that both leaders come together so that the people of this country, South Sudan, not be betrayed.
Thousands of people have been killed and tens of thousands have sought refuge at UN bases around South Sudan after the violence spread across the country.
To Western Africa now, a top Senegalese rebel leader has declared a unilateral ceasefire, raising hopes of ending one of West Africa's longest-running conflicts. Salif Sadio says he wants to give the peace process initiated by President Macky Sall a chance. Mr. Sadio leads a rebel MFDC faction fighting for the southern Kasmansiro region, the independence since 1982. Casamance, beg your pardon, Casamance region independence since 1982. A number of peace deals and ceasefires agreed in the past have failed to end the violence. Thousands of people are being killed in the low-level conflict.